Have you ever sat in a quiet room and thought to yourself, why does everything feel so distant lately? Maybe it's not that people have disappeared, but the connection just isn't what it used to be. A phone that used to ring more often. A coffee invitation that comes once in a while, if at all. If you've had that moment, where you wonder where everyone went, or even where you fit into the lives of others, you're definitely not alone. That sense of drifting apart can quietly sneak in after 60, and for many, it feels like something they just have to live with. But here's the thing, you don't. Growing older doesn't mean growing lonelier. In fact, it can be the very opposite. This chapter of life offers a kind of freedom, time, wisdom, and the ability to choose who we let into our hearts. You've walked through decades of experiences, laughter, mistakes, and growth. Now, it's time to turn that into something deeply beautiful, relationships that feel nourishing, kind, and real. In today's video, we're going to gently explore 5 heartfelt ways you can build stronger, more joyful relationships after 60. These aren't complicated or overwhelming ideas. Just small, meaningful shifts that can help you feel more connected, to yourself and to those around you. And I promise, it's never too late to open your heart again. And if you love topics about health, psychology, and living a meaningful life after 60, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone you care about, and subscribe to this channel. I'm on a mission to reach 1,000 subscribers so I can keep sharing more healing, helpful content with you and our beautiful community. Now, let's begin with the first idea, something incredibly simple but often overlooked. It starts with the one relationship we tend to put last, the one we have with ourselves. You see, when you're younger, you're often so busy taking care of everyone else, your children, your spouse, your job, that your own needs quietly fall to the bottom of the list. But after 60, something changes. There's this space that opens up, a chance to come back to yourself. To listen. To slow down. And here's the magic, when you treat yourself with kindness and attention, that warmth spills into every other relationship you have. People feel it. You begin attracting the kind of love and friendship that mirrors the care you show yourself. So, how do you actually build that kind of self-relationship? Start small. Give yourself quiet moments in the morning, before the noise of the day begins, to sit with your thoughts. Brew a cup of tea, sit by the window, and ask yourself gently, how am I really feeling today? Speak kindly to yourself, especially when you're having an off day. Let go of harsh self-talk. Just like a garden, we bloom best with gentle care and patience. And the more you practice that inner kindness, the more naturally it becomes a part of how you treat others, and how others treat you in return. Now, once your relationship with yourself begins to feel grounded, you'll notice something interesting, people start feeling safer around you. That's when we can lean into the second powerful way to deepen connection, becoming a better listener. At this stage in life, we've gathered so many stories of our own that it can be tempting to always have advice ready, to jump in and share our perspective right away. And while our wisdom is valuable, sometimes the most loving thing we can offer someone is our full attention. Not fixing. Not guiding. Just being fully present. Think about the last time someone truly listened to you, not checking their phone, not waiting for their turn to speak, but actually hearing you. Didn't that feel wonderful? It's like being seen without judgment. That's what we can give to others. Whether it's a chat with your neighbor, a call with your daughter, or a catch-up over coffee with an old friend, practice simply being there. Nod. Smile. Ask questions that go a little deeper than, how are you? Try, what's been on your mind lately, or, what's something that made you smile this week? When you hold space for someone else, you invite a deeper connection. And over time, those little moments of presence become the foundation of something much more meaningful. You become someone others feel safe around, someone they want to open up to again and again. But let's not stop there, because the truth is, connection isn't always about deep talks or heart-to-hearts. Sometimes, it's about shared laughter, lightness, and doing something together that sparks joy. Which brings us to another quietly powerful idea that can transform your relationships after 60. Engaging in shared activities, no matter how simple, creates a bond that words alone can't match. It doesn't have to be anything grand. In fact, the smaller, more consistent routines often bring the most joy. Maybe it's joining a walking group in your neighborhood, or attending a weekly pottery class at the local community center. Maybe it's something as lovely as baking with your grandchildren every Sunday, or volunteering once a month at the library. The magic lies in doing something side by side. You see, when you engage in a shared activity, you both relax. The pressure to make conversation disappears. And without even trying, laughter happens, stories are shared, and memories are made. If you've ever gardened with a friend or played cards with someone for an hour, you know that feeling, the one where time passes without you even noticing, and you walk away feeling lighter, happier, more connected. Sometimes, people shy away from joining new groups or inviting others to participate in something. There's a fear of rejection, or that we won't fit in. But most of the time, people are waiting for someone, anyone, to take the first step. And maybe that someone can be you. It takes courage, yes, but oh, the rewards are worth it. So far, we've talked about nurturing your inner world, listening with presence, and sharing joyful activities. These may sound simple, but don't underestimate their power. It's often the smallest actions, done with heart, that breathe new life into relationships that have grown distant, or that open doors to beautiful new ones. Let's keep going, shall we? One of the most tender truths about this stage in life is that many of us carry invisible heartaches, lost friends, family members who've moved away, relationships that faded not because of anger, but simply because time pulled us in different directions. That's why our next focus is so important. It's about something that often gets brushed aside as trivial, but in reality, it holds the power to transform our emotional world, expressing appreciation out loud. Gratitude is one of the easiest, most healing things we can practice, but it's often the first thing we forget in our relationships. We assume people know how much we care, how much we value them. We think, she knows I love her, or I don't need to say it again. But we do. People blossom under appreciation. It makes them feel seen, acknowledged, and important. And when someone feels that way around you, they naturally feel more drawn to you. They feel safe, loved, and eager to share life with you. Think about someone in your life right now, maybe a friend, a neighbor, a son or daughter, who's quietly been showing up for you in small ways. Maybe they check in once in a while, or they bring over soup when you're not feeling well. What would it mean to them if you picked up the phone and simply said, "Hey, I just wanted to tell you how much I appreciate you. You make my life better, and I'm grateful for you." That's it. No grand speech. Just genuine, gentle words of acknowledgement. The beauty of appreciation is that it doesn't just strengthen the bond, it also brings you joy. When you give gratitude, you feel lighter. You start to notice more of the good in your life, and that quiet noticing builds a deep inner warmth that others can feel too. Over time, your relationships take on a new tone, softer, warmer, more open. And it doesn't have to be spoken only. You can write a little note, leave a voicemail, or even send a short message with a photo that says, "This reminded me of you, and I smiled." That small moment becomes a bridge, a way to gently reach out and reconnect without needing a reason. Now, if expressing appreciation is the bridge, then forgiveness is the clearing of the path. And that brings us to something a little heavier, but deeply freeing, letting go of old grudges. It's not always easy, is it? Especially when someone hurt you deeply, maybe they never said sorry, or perhaps they're no longer around to say it. You carry it like a small stone in your heart. Maybe it doesn't show every day, but every now and then, it presses on your peace, and you feel it again. But here's the truth we don't hear often enough: forgiveness is not about letting someone off the hook. It's about letting yourself off the hook. It's about choosing peace over pain, release over resentment. And after 60, you deserve peace. You deserve to move forward with lightness in your step and softness in your heart. Now, forgiveness doesn't have to mean rebuilding a relationship. Sometimes it just means quietly deciding, I'm not going to let this hurt take up space in me anymore. Maybe you write a letter and never send it. Maybe you sit under the sky, take a deep breath, and say the words out loud, I forgive you. I forgive myself. Whatever form it takes, it's powerful. And once you start releasing those old weights, your relationships in the present, your real, current life, begin to feel more alive. You're not clouded by yesterday's pain. You can be fully here. And in that presence, love has room to grow again. Now, all of this, the self-kindness, the deep listening, the shared activities, the gratitude, the forgiveness, it's beautiful, yes. But there's one more element that ties it all together. And it might be the simplest one of all. It's about being the one who reaches out first. We often wait for others to make the first move. I'll call her if she calls me. If they invite me, I'll go. But what if you decided that you're allowed to go first? That connection isn't a scoreboard, and there's no shame in being the one who reaches out. Maybe it's a friend you haven't seen in years. Maybe it's someone new you've noticed at the community center. Maybe it's a family member who seems distant lately. You don't need a reason. A gentle, hey, I was thinking about you. Want to catch up sometime, is all it takes to plant the seed of a renewed connection. There's a quiet strength in that kind of vulnerability. Yes, sometimes people won't respond the way you hoped. But more often than not, they will. And even if they don't, you'll know you opened your heart, that you were brave enough to offer kindness into the world. And kindness always leaves a mark. Even if it doesn't come back from the same person, it creates an openness in you, and others can feel it. And over time, it attracts the kind of genuine, soul-filling relationships that you truly deserve. So if your heart has felt a little lonely lately, if you've been longing for connection but unsure where to start here. With one kind message. One invitation. One moment of listening. One small act of reaching out. Because relationships don't have to be complicated. They don't need grand gestures or constant communication. What they really need is presence. Warmth. The quiet choice, again and again, to keep showing up, with softness, with courage, with love. You have so much love to give. And there are people out there, old friends, new faces, even family members who've grown a little distant, who are just waiting to feel that love again. Let it flow, gently, without expectation. Let it be imperfect, real, human. Let it be enough. You know, one of the most powerful things we can realize, especially as we get older, is that relationships don't have to look the way they did 20 or 30 years ago to be meaningful. The way we connect may shift, the pace may slow down, but the depth can actually grow richer, more honest, more nourishing. And this brings us to something that often gets overlooked because it feels so ordinary, but it's a quiet treasure: consistency. That might sound a bit dull on the surface, but hear me out: consistency in our presence, in our communication, in how we show up for others, is one of the strongest forms of love we can offer. You don't have to be flashy. You don't have to be endlessly entertaining. What matters more is being there in simple, steady ways. A quick call every Sunday just to check in. A handwritten card every few months. A smile and warm hello when you pass by your neighbor's fence. Those small gestures build trust. They say, I'm here. You can count on me. In a world that often feels uncertain and fast-moving, that kind of steady, quiet presence becomes a rare gift. And the beauty of it is, you don't need perfect health or endless energy to offer it. Even if your mobility has slowed or your days are quieter than they once were, you can still be a source of calm and care in someone's life. I once knew a woman named Nora. She was in her early 80s and lived alone after her husband passed. Every morning, without fail, she would send a voice message to her granddaughter. Nothing elaborate, just a simple, "Good morning, sweet girl. Thinking of you. Hope today is gentle." And every morning, that granddaughter would listen to it before heading off to work. It became their quiet ritual. And when that granddaughter spoke at Nora's funeral years later, she said those tiny messages were the most loving, grounding part of her day. That's the kind of presence I'm talking about. It doesn't take much, but it means the world. And while we're on the topic of presence, I want to gently remind you of something that's easy to forget. You don't have to wait until everything feels perfect to reach out to others. So often, we hold ourselves back because we think, "I don't have anything interesting to say," or "I don't want to bother them." But most people aren't looking for perfection, they're just looking for warmth, for kindness, for someone who sees them. You have stories, wisdom, laughter, and life inside you, gifts that are meant to be shared. You don't need to fix anyone's problems. You don't need to say all the right things. Your presence alone can be healing. A simple, "I'm thinking of you," can be more comforting than 1,000 carefully chosen words. If you've ever wondered whether you still matter, let me say this plainly, you do. Not because of what you've achieved or how busy you are, but because of who you are. Your experience. Your compassion. Your quiet resilience. These are the things people are drawn to, whether they know how to say it or not. And perhaps most importantly, your relationships with others often mirror the one you have with yourself. If you speak gently to yourself, if you forgive yourself for past mistakes, if you remind yourself that you're worthy of love, you start to carry yourself differently. You soften. And that softness invites connection. So take care of that inner relationship. Sit quietly with yourself now and then. Listen to what your heart is telling you. If there's someone you miss, reach out. If there's someone you need to forgive, start that healing. If there's someone you'd love to get to know better, be brave and start a conversation. And if you find yourself spending more time alone than you'd like, don't wait for the perfect moment to change that. The perfect moment is now. You are not too old. It is not too late. And yes, connection is still possible, still beautiful, still waiting for you. It may start with a single conversation over coffee. It may start with a walk shared in silence. It may start with a laugh over something silly and small. But it starts. And every time you reach out, every time you show up with a kind heart, you plant a seed. Maybe it blooms into a deep friendship. Maybe it brings a little more light into someone's day. Either way, it matters. So today, I want to encourage you, gently but clearly, to not give up on people. Don't give up on connection. Don't give up on joy. The ways we bond may change with age, but our need for love, for closeness, for companionship, that stays. And we're allowed to want it. We're allowed to go looking for it. We're allowed to be a little vulnerable. You've lived enough life to know what truly matters, and relationships, the kind that make your heart feel full, those are the treasures worth nurturing. And if you're thinking right now, "But I don't know where to begin," let this be your starting point. Make one call. Send one note. Smile at one new person. Tell one friend they mean something to you. And then, do it again tomorrow. You'll be surprised how often love responds when you make the first move. You'll be amazed at how open people still are, even when it seems like everyone's busy. You'll remember what it feels like to laugh with someone, to share a moment that feels genuine, and to go to bed feeling a little more connected than the day before. And that's the beautiful truth, isn't it? That no matter how old we are, there's still room for more connection, more love, more moments that matter. So be the one who dares to reach out. Be the one who forgives. Be the one who listens. Be the one who shows up. Let your kindness ripple out into the world. Because it's never too late to build stronger relationships. It's never too late to find joy in connection. And it starts with you. If this message resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Share your experiences in the comments. What has helped you keep your relationship strong after 60? Maybe your words will inspire someone else who really needs to hear them today. And if you enjoy videos like this, ones that gently remind us of what really matters, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with a friend who might need a little encouragement today. I'm on a journey to reach 1,000 subscribers, and every bit of support helps us grow this caring little community together. So here's to love, to friendship, to second chances and deeper connections. Here's to living your best, most meaningful life, at every age. You've still got so much to give. And the world is lucky to have you in it.